Hey everyone, it's David Chen. Let's talk about The Trial of the Chicago 7, which is out right now on Netflix. The Trial of the Chicago 7 is a courtroom drama written and directed by Aaron Sorkin. It's based on the 1969 trial of 7 defendants charged with various crimes relating to protests at the 1968 Democratic National Convention. Technically, it's actually the Trial of Chicago 8 if you include Bobby Seale, the co-founder of the Black Panther Party, but his part of the trial was actually a sham, as the movie makes clear. I want to start by saying that this movie was hugely enjoyable. I love Aaron Sorkin's work pretty unapologetically. But at the same time, when you love something, when you love someone, you also are really acquainted with their flaws. You know, we don't love perfect people. We don't love perfect artists. We don't love perfect things. And when you love someone's work, you also have a deep understanding of the things they're not good at. And so I'm going to talk about a few of those things that they're good at and the things that they're not good at in this review. So what is the Trial of the Chicago 7 good at? Well, Aaron Sorkin is really well regarded. He's an Academy Award-winning screenwriter. He's great at dialogue, at the rhythm, the pitter-patter of dialogue. And the Trial of the Chicago 7 has some great witty banter. The cast is incredible. Apparently, a third of the film's budget was spent on getting actors like Sasha Baron Cohen, Eddie Redmayne, Mark Rylance, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it shows. Everyone is operating at the top of their game, with some caveats that I'll get into a little bit later. Another thing that Sorkin is really good at is he has a really good understanding of momentum, of how to drive a story forward, of how to reveal pieces of information to an audience at a relatively fast clip so that it maintains their interest. And those are all things that the Trial of the Chicago 7 is really good at. I mean, this guy wrote A Few Good Men, which is ultimately a kind of a detective story, right? And I think that this movie kind of has those kind of elements in it as well. It's a movie that never stopped keeping my interest in its entire 2+ hour runtime, and that's actually saying something in this age of pandemic watching. Which brings me to something else that I like about this Aaron Sorkin movie, and also appreciate about his movies in general. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about, like, what are Aaron Sorkin's movies trying to say? What are they about? When I look at the 2 movies he's directed, Molly's Game, and also this movie, The Trial of Chicago 7, one thing that runs throughout Aaron Sorkin's movies is this idea that America's institutions, founded with some sense of idealism and hope, can, over time, curdle and decay and eventually be directed against the people whom they are meant to serve. So I'm referring to things like the government in The West Wing. I'm referring to things like the military in A Few Good Men. I'm referring to things like the justice system and the police force in Molly's Game and in The Trial of Chicago 7. These are all things that either occasionally or all the time have a pretty bleak view of the problems that the institutions of state can create. But they also have something else, which is a lot of hope. That people within those systems operating in good faith, with idealism, with strategy, with intelligence, can actually turn things around, can actually set us on a better path and towards a brighter future. That's true of The Trial of Chicago 7. That's true of Molly's Game. These are both movies that are about people trapped in impossible situations, but still manage to maintain their integrity, their dignity, their loyalty throughout the entire process. And I think there is this fundamental strain of hope that runs through Aaron Sorkin's movies that, like, individuals can make a difference, right? And that's certainly the impression I get watching The Trial of Chicago 7. So if you're looking for a courtroom drama that is electrifying and has some social commentary and has great momentum and has great banter and an awesome cast and stuff like that, I think you'll have a great time with The Trial of Chicago 7. Let's talk about some of the things that the movie doesn't do that well. Something that Aaron Sorkin has caught flack for in the past is he's not consistently great at writing women or people of color. That's not to say there have been never any good women or people of color characters in his previous films, but I certainly see some of those shortcomings on display here. I don't even think this movie passes the Bechdel test. And for a movie that is otherwise extremely prescient about the issues around police brutality and racism and protests that we're all going through right now, it's kind of a bummer that Bobby Seale, who's played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, is completely sidelined partway through the movie. That seems like a missed opportunity. And for those who are saying, well, you can't change what actually happened in real life, the movie is a dramatization of events, so you can. But that kind of brings me to some of the bigger picture issues the movie has, which is because it's called The Trial of Chicago 7, technically 8, there are so many characters. You have all these 7 characters. You have characters they know. You have the lawyers. And the movie is unable to really focus on any one of them at a time. It's hard to really get a sense of more than a couple of them, what their personalities are. And that's not a fatal issue or anything like that, but it does make the storytelling feel a little bit jumbled at times. For instance, the movie opens in the perspective of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, Richard Schultz, who's trying the government's case against the protesters. And then it almost completely jettisons his point of view, and it kind of bounces around to other people's point of view. And ultimately, it centers on Abby Hoffman, who's played by Sasha Baron Cohen, and Tom Hayden, who's played by Eddie Redmayne. So, like, ultimately, those are kind of like the protagonists of the movie. But it takes a while to get to that point, and on the way there, it's a bit of a bumpy ride. But that's just kind of the nature of what happens when you're trying to adapt the Trial of Chicago 7 story, and you're trying to keep all 7 characters in the film. About that cast, by the way, love all the performers here, and I think they're all doing a great job, but the accent work is really all over the place. Sasha Baron Cohen, one of my favorite actors, super talented at transforming chameleon-like into different roles. Can't wait to watch Borat, but I thought his, I want to say Bostonian, Massachusetts accent was pretty rough. Ditto Jeremy Strong, who's playing some kind of hippie character. Jeremy Strong puts in an incredible Emmy-winning performance in Succession. He's like one of my favorite characters on TV right now is the character of Kendall Roy. But I never could really lose myself in the film because it always felt like Jeremy Strong doing a hippie accent versus this is a character Jeremy Strong is playing, Jared Rubin. That said, I want to say Eddie Redmayne, great American accent. This is my first time hearing Eddie Redmayne's American accent. I thought he did a great job. Very, very convincing. Very convincing. Anyway, that brings me to my final big problem with the movie, which is the movie's ending. So in order to really talk about this, I'm going to have to go into spoilers. If you don't want to hear spoilers for the movie, then tune out now. But yeah, the ending of the Trial of Chicago 7, Eddie Redmayne's character, Tom Hayden, theoretically has been, throughout the movie, not really engaged in all these stunty things that Abby Hoffman's doing. And that's kind of what the central conflict of most of the movie ends up being, is like, what is the best way to speak out? What is the best way to be progressive in this situation? And Eddie Redmayne's character, Tom Hayden, finally decides, you know what? I'm finally going to use my time to not be as buttoned up as I usually am. I'm going to read a list of names of the Vietnam War dead in defiance of the wishes of Julius Judge Hoffman, who's this horrible, racist, procedurally inept judge, played wonderfully by Frank Langella. So he gets up and he reads the names, and everyone starts applauding, and you see text on the screen that explains what happened to everyone afterwards. This is like one of the worst movie endings I've seen in a while. I mean, I remember watching this movie, Not Another Teen Movie, and there's a character in that movie whose whole purpose in life is he wants to start a slow clap, and he gets made fun of the whole movie, and he's kind of a loser. And that was like decades ago, you know, like we were making fun of the slow clap already decades ago. And now this is a movie whose dramatic climax is ending with a slow clap in a way that is so over the top and ridiculous that I was like, I have no faith that this actually happened in real life. And of course, it didn't really happen in real life. It's completely invented for the film. But it's an ending that is so over the top, so Sorkin-y, that the Sorkin spilled out of the screen. It blasted me in the face, and I got some buckshot Sorkin as a result of that ending. It's one of the worst endings for one of the most enjoyable movies I've seen this year, and that is very, very unfortunate. So, was not a fan of the ending, but everything that goes up to it is pretty good. So anyway, as I'm wrapping up here, my mind goes to season 1 of The West Wing. There's an episode called Let Bartlett Be Bartlett, and the fundamental focus of that episode is, hey, this president of the United States in The West Wing, President Bartlett, played by Martin Sheen, why not let him do what he wants to do? Like, don't hinder him from kind of enacting the progressive politics and the policies and the initiatives that he wants to. Don't hinder him from speaking in a highly articulate way that he would want to. Let Bartlett be Bartlett. It's a theme that the show would return to throughout the years. This movie, The Trial of Chicago 7, it let Sorkin be Sorkin, for good or ill. And for me personally, as a fan, I enjoyed it. I'm grateful this movie exists, and I'm grateful that it's streaming right now and everyone can watch it. It's available on Netflix. Check it out. Thanks for watching my review of The Trial of Chicago 7. Let me know what you thought of the film. Did you have the same reaction to the ending? hit me up in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon. It's the only way to get notified whenever I make new videos. I want to end here by first of all thanking all my Patreon subscribers. Thank you so much. You can see their names on the side of the screen. But I also want to end by reading comments from my last video. Now, if you've been watching this YouTube channel, you'll know that in my last video, I took people on a tour through my Blu-ray collection while At Joy of Napping roasted me for my decisions. So let's take a look at some of these comments. Joy of Napping's quiet victory whisper is my jam, says Fullerin Osabodu. People really like seeing me get my physical media taken away from me, and that's okay. I'm going to need to get on that. All right, Ordinary Adventure says, you need to start a monthly or weekly Patreon video segment where Joy of Napping chooses a few different weird duplicates or things she doesn't think you guys should own off the shelf. Then David needs to argue why he needs to own them, and after the video, have the patrons vote on which one should be removed from the shelf. Maybe a Patreon could win the movie from the collection. Ordinary Adventures, very talented YouTuber, grateful to have his perspective on here. Let me think about it. I think, though, what I might do is have a way to, like, give away some of my excess Blu-rays for people on my Patreon. So if you want to be considered as part of that, make sure to go to patreon.com/DaveChen. All right, Zachary G. Breland says, none of these are in the right place. What is going on? At Joy of Napping is all of us. All right, I guess everyone really doesn't like how my Blu-ray shelf is organized. And finally, Andreas Stenlin says, but maybe one day this will become useful. Spoken as a true hoarder. Thank you. It's nice to feel seen. All right, thanks, folks. See you in the next one.